at the TCL Chinese Theatre for the 19th annual Oscar-qualifying HollyShorts Film Festival. I'm seated here with Erin Cooper Doyle, who, when I asked earlier and I said, did you just do everything? She mentioned some things that sounded a lot like everything, and I'll let you go ahead and take it away. On The Invaders. Her film is called The Invaders.
So The Invaders is a Western horror film.
Mm-hmm.
It takes place on the California Trail with a pioneer family that ignores a series of ominous dreams and meets a terrible end.
Okay. Terrible. The logline says
Yes.
supernatural fate, but
Yes.
now that we know that it's terrible, I'm scared for this family.
Yeah. I mean, it's a horror movie, so
Yeah.
bad things are going to happen.
Okay, so it was a California trail.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a lot of actual trekking involved?
Yes, in that it took a long time to get it made because it takes a long time to do anything well when you're set in when you're working with period material. This is a proof of concept for a feature, so
Okay.
we also spent a long
Fingers
time. Yeah, right. We spent a long time cutting the script down and figuring out what is the best way to tell this story in as short a time as possible. It is a 4-minute film, so I think we accomplished the short part of it.
4 minutes. Congratulations.
Yes, thank
That
you.
is always so hard.
Yeah.
Just tear things
Yeah.
off of it. Things
Yeah.
that you love.
Yes. Yeah.
Just rip them away.
Absolutely.
Is there anything that you're sad that you had to let go of?
No, because I think we made the film that we needed to make. There is a scene in the feature that I'm obsessed with that I really wanted to get in there and that I tried to shove in several drafts, and I realized that it just, shorts don't work when you try to make a little feature. They need to be their own thing. And so I think we netted out in the best place that we could. We do hope to shoot the feature in Montana. We shot locally because, again, just practicality. So we ended up finding a beautiful, beautiful location in Agua Dulce, which is just northeast of Santa Clarita. We looked at a bunch of film ranches, couldn't afford any of them on a short film budget.
Right.
So we went on to Hip Camp and found this incredible location that had the sweeping views that I was looking for. And it was a trek to get out there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you're making a movie about pioneers, and you're also doing a little
Yes,
pioneering
we
by
did.
yourself. What is Hip Camp?
Hip Camp is like Airbnb for camping.
Oh, okay,
So yeah,
cool.
my line producer was like, who's out of town this weekend, otherwise she would be here. But she was like, I don't know, like let's look at campsites, and that was a really brilliant idea because I did, and they are actually a film location as well, so they were set up that way.
And they were open to that sort of
They were open to
thing.
that, and
That's
also
good.
a lot of period stuff in LA is actually up in Santa Clarita, so we had a real
Yeah?
working covered wagon.
Oh my gosh.
That we didn't. We couldn't have animals on set in the short, but it was actually, if we'd had oxen or horses, we could have. It was fully operable.
You did mention that you were very serious about making sure the set design was period appropriate.
Yes. Yeah.
What sort of work goes into that, especially for a short with a small budget?
Yeah, a lot of research. So the film is set in 1852. It is very specifically 1852 because that is the year that westward expansion exploded for families and not just 49ers heading out to California. And it was also the year that relations between Western Native American nations and white settlers started to deteriorate. There's a lot of myths out there about everything dealing with the West, but especially around Native Americans. And so 1852 was chosen for that reason. Most of what we see on screen in traditional Hollywood Westerns are 1880s period, and actually covered wagons were very rare in spite of what we've seen on TV in the 1880s. They were replaced by trains and other more practical means of transportation. So I think I've delved into a little bit of my history nerdiness there, but yeah, it was a lot of research. My production designer, Rochelle Flauta, was I gave her a mood board. I gave her a lot of research. She was all in. My costume designer who did the pioneer pieces, Meredith Peebles, specializes in Western wear and period pieces. So they were all about it, and they dove in and got really nerdy with me.
And you partnered with a native artist, correct?
I did, yes.
Tell me about that experience.
Yeah, so there's a native element in this, and while it is a story about it's a white accountability fantasy about pioneers and this myth of manifest destiny that I was raised on, and that we all were. And I knew that I needed to find a native collaborator in order to move forward. So I reached out to my entire network, and I got connected to Leah Matafragua, she's an incredible artist who splits her time between Northern California and Santa Fe. So she not only designed the look for the mother, but she also consulted on the script and helped me really narrow in and get specific. We specifically focused on Indigenous futurism for the look because we wanted this character because she's Mother Earth. She is the monster in the film. Also the hero, depending on what perspective you have, but we wanted her to point to a better future for Native people as well. So she brought such an incredible perspective, and then we really got started on pre-production once we had her on board.
That's excellent. So with such a mindful production, what sort of communication are you having with your heads of department to make sure that everyone is being just as mindful and telling the same story? Yeah.
Every person who came on knew the brief from the get-go. I'm very passionate on everything that I'm a commercial director as well. I'm very mindful of hiring women, of looking at parity on set, and so everybody that I work with comes in with that perspective from the get-go.
That is wonderful to know that you have a community of people you can pull from who you just know that they'll be on the same page as you.
Yes, and when we make the feature, we are, again, we're looking at Montana and New Mexico and places that have large Native communities, and we will be looking to hire department heads to make sure that we do it all right.
That's brilliant. So you have, from my research, I've found that you have a very interesting time slot in the...
Midnight.
Midnight horror block, correct? What day is that?
So it is Saturday the 19th at midnight, which means it is Friday night.
It's Friday.
Yes.
Don't be confused by the schedule.
Yes.
It is Friday night. Get here at 11:50, and then the brochure will say.
And you make a horror film, you're probably showing at midnight. The midnight blocks are always a blast, so they are worth staying up for.
So it's going to be worth it. So if you are at the festival, if you are in Hollywood, try to make it. This sounds like an incredible project to be able to catch. If you can't, it's on BitPix. Thank you so much for joining me.
This was a delight.
This is an excellent interview. Thanks, everybody. This has been another special episode of the Cinematography for Actors podcast. We are here live at the 19th annual Oscar qualifying HollyShorts Film Festival through August 20th. Follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts, and if you are here at the festival, come up to the VIP lounge and say hi.
We also want to give a huge thank you and shout out to our sponsors, which we have so many to help us put this together, and that is Apogee Film Tools, Roscoe, Lightstone Rentals, Canon, and First Mile Technology for the awesome Wi-Fi hookup. As a special gift to our CFA listeners, we have partnered with a company called We Make Movies, you may be familiar with them, to offer discounted production services, including access to comprehensive production insurance and workers' comp for your next shoot. Visit wemakemovies.org/insurance and use code CFA23 on your next intake form for 10% off your quote. We are making filmmaking more accessible. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next time on the Cinematography for Actors podcast. Thanks all. Bye.